Welcome to Hellas Footy podcast, episode 4. I'm your host, George. Get things started. Greg, how are you?
I'm good, mate. Plenty to talk about today.
Yes. Steve?
We're having a mini heat wave in the UK, and in terms of how I'm doing, well, better than the weekend. Certainly.
Yeah, 90-degree Fahrenheit, I was told by my friend in the UK.
Yeah, really hot.
Whatever that means. Yeah, hot. Probably 19 degrees in Australia. Michael, how are you?
How do I answer that after what was dished up the last two games?
Personally.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
Personally, you're good though.
Yeah.
And Nico?
Yeah, ready to discuss.
Ready to go. All right, guys. As we know, we've had a bit of a disastrous ethnic year period here, starting off with the friendly match. Result didn't go our way. Greg, how do you want to quickly dissect that one? Because you wrote a blog on it, and I'm going to you because you did the blog on what you saw there and how it didn't correlate to what we saw. So
there was a couple of things I wasn't happy about in the friendly, but we played okay. We did some things that we normally do, and we after a really poor start, I mean, it took us 20 minutes to actually do anything in that game. We started to, we played head-to-head with Switzerland, who's a very good team. We got an equaliser. We copped a pretty ordinary, like a careless second goal that they scored, which was just down to some brainstem from Mavropanos. But, and with I still think it was a lineup that handicapped us. But we took it to them. We dominated for most of that match after the first 20. Didn't create. We created enough. We should have been 2-up. I believe this had a great opportunity to score there. But it was a pretty reasonable showing, and it's just in the blog that I wrote, I just can't see what we did there, even though I still had some issues with the lineup, and then went to Kosovo and did something totally different. But for the friendly itself, despite the loss, I think there was some decent things to take out of it, and we executed, I guess, a game plan to the best of our abilities with the lineup, which I don't know. I just don't get why he played Kutris at left wing, and Vrusa is a midfielder. He played at right wing, but I reckon he should have been subbed off earlier, and I think we should have given some other guys a run there to set them up for the Kosovo game is what I would have done.
Yeah. I guess the question that everyone asks, and you put that in your blog, is why try different things in that match and then not bring them across into the other one, which I guess no one can answer. Moving on from that one, because the friendly seems like a distant memory. I'd forgotten about it up until about half an hour ago, to be quite honest. We move on to the main game, the one that we needed to win, considering the position that we put ourselves in by dropping points against Georgia when we actually got the point against Spain. So things started off well in the first match, dropped off in the second. So this one was a must-win match to really ensure that we were back on track. Score ended up 1-1 against Kosovo. We scored just before half-time. Duvikas got the goal, and the last 15, 20 minutes was absolute putrid football by us. We were just, I don't know what we were doing. And Vedat Miriki ended up putting one away for the draw to break our hearts. Michael, I'll go to you here quickly, mate. How did you see that match in particular?
Last week I did say a scrappy 1-0 win in my prediction, which was leading to being a scrappy win. But yeah, I don't know what to say about the performance. It was jaw-dropping. So jaw-dropping in absolute shock, because it was absolutely embarrassing the way we showed up in Kosovo, and we dish up that performance. With the quality that we have, we should be sweeping past Kosovo. There's no excuses about it. I don't care about the absences in the squad. You make those adjustments as a coach. That's your job.
Yeah.
Which, okay, to a certain extent he did, but it was not enough. We saw the stubbornness that John Van Skipper showed for the past 2 years, and that's become our detriment.
Yes, Nico, going to you because you were doing the you were doing the live tweeting for us on Hellas Football. So you had the pleasure of sitting watching the game and tweeting out for the people that weren't able to watch the game for whatever reason. So you had the double pleasure there.
I don't know about pleasure, maybe displeasure.
Well, yeah, pain, whatever you want
Pain
to call it.
at 4:45 a.m.
That's right. Yeah. Now, how did you see things, knowing that you're watching it, and then you also got to put it into words?
It was so bad. It was. I hate to say it, but I told you so. I did tip 1-1.
Yeah. Look, and just sorry to paraphrase. Like a lot of people say, people are negative and all that kind of stuff. It's not being negative.
Yeah.
It's at this stage.
I want to be positive. I want it to be proved wrong, but it's just realistic. I couldn't shake that Georgia performance off my memory back in March, and it just carried on basically. The start was really bad. The first half in general, I was getting ready to tweet like neither keeper had anything to do in the first half, and then as I was about to get ready for that, the ball's in the back of the net. So it was a well taken goal actually. Good pass.
It was.
By Bakasetas, you got to say, and a good finish by Duvikas. But that was the only chance we created the whole game. So you got to create a lot more and score more to be winning these sorts of games. Just before that, it was a moment that summed us up as well. The ball fell to Bukhalakis, and he didn't even know what to do. It was such a weak shot that just rolled to the keeper, which summed up our day. Second half again.
It wasn't just that shot. He had an open. There was one moment in the match. The Kosovo keeper came out, and the ball landed to Bukhalakis, which he should have lobbed it over, and that would have been a goal.
Yeah.
Instead, he passed it straight to the keeper.
And he screwed us in the second half
exactly
with a chance. As in terms of tweeting it, and as time was progressing in the second half, we did nothing again, and it really burnt me having to tweet out that Mandalos substitution. I can't stand him as a player or as a person, honestly. And he came
it's
on.
Not that bad.
Oh, sorry, Greg. What he said about Panathinaikos a couple of years ago, I can't stand him.
I was going to say, what's this as a person? I'm trying to figure it.
I can't stand him.
What did he say a couple of years ago?
He said when we beat him, it's like losing to a dead team or something, whatever he said.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right.
He came on. Predictably, he did nothing. And then, look, the last maybe 20 minutes, from the 70th to the 80th, I thought we might see this out. But then from about the 80th, 85th minute, they ramped up the pressure. We couldn't keep the ball. We were getting desperate, and you could just see they were going to get one chance. And that guy for them is a bit of a poacher.
Yeah, well, I don't even know who the guy is. I don't really care about the guy, to be honest. That last 20 minutes was atrocious football. And the 20 minutes, that's from 75th to the 95th.
Yeah.
We just were unable.
We looked nervous.
We were extremely nervous. And I'm thinking to myself, what I couldn't understand, I'm going to go to you here, Steve. The substitutions in that period, to me, didn't make sense either, because you're trying to control the game. Your defense was doing its job, but then you go and you sub off. You put Funtas on. Steve, I mean, how did you see that last period?
Well, I mean,
the game?
The first perplexing substitution I found was Duvikas going off.
Yeah.
I mean, he scored the goal. Why did he come off on I think it was the hour mark he came off. It was fairly midway through the second half.
63rd minute.
So even by then, clearly the mentality was right. We're 1-0 up. Let's try and contain our lead and stop them. And then Tsimikas came off as well. He had a bit of a mixed performance, but I don't think he was quite as bad as other people on the pitch. And then as Nico said, like once the 80th minute hit, we were just 100% trying to park the bus against a team like Kosovo, and they were ramping up the pressure, and that's where the goal came from. And it was just a comedy of errors, as it were.
It was.
The equaliser, and it's just an embarrassment. And yeah, it was disappointing. And like Nigo, I got my prediction right, even though I didn't want that to be the actual result.
You've got the double disappointment of watching Cyprus lose and then turning you to watch Greece.
I've had the worst week of football, I think, in a very long time. First, it was Cyprus, giving Malta their first win in the World Cup qualifiers ever.
Ever.
Then Olympiacos, okay, mixed team against Aris, but poor result. The highlight of my week was Avram scoring a header. That's my highlight of this week. And then Greece.
And then Greece. Yeah, you poor guy.
To Bakasetas, he forward passed the ball to get an assist.
Good pass.
Really bad.
It was a good pass. Now,
it was.
We'll start backwards here a bit because I know people want to talk about this. Greg, the goal we conceded. Me personally, I can't understand. I don't want to throw eggs on players and all that, but it just looks like Giannoulis at the worst moment just got caught like a deer in the headlights and just didn't know what was doing and just reacted way too slowly. And then that has a snowball effect because then the keeper reacts slowly as well. I mean, how did you see that, Greg?
It was, just Mavropanos first missed a header, went over him. Then Giannoulis left his player open there, and then Vlachodimos. I mean, it's a hard situation. I know some people are putting blame on him. I mean, he made the wrong decision. He went to try and he went low on the guy that headed it into the center. Arguably, there was a foul on Savelas on that goal, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
It was a comedy of errors. We're starting Giannoulis in back three as a centre back. For me, that didn't really. I don't think that made sense.
And this is what I didn't understand as well. I mean, granted, I don't know if the player was injured. Like Tsimikas coming off in the 88th minute, he was playing well in his position all game, and then you take him off, and then you push a player back that hasn't had a good start to the season career-wise at his club in the EPL as well. It was just a brain fade that I just can't.
You tried to shoehorn them both in.
Yeah, and it's not. How does that work?
Yeah. Left backs in for the sake of it.
But the thing is, if you're trying to defend what you're trying to defend, why would you take off a defender? Like, why would you take off Tsimikas for?
Even aside from that, I said at halftime, like, it's all about mentality. Attack's the best form of defense. We should have been ruthless and tried to kill it off and get a second and a third.
Well, that's
on the coach.
And that too as well. So you look at the stuff that we're doing there. You go into the game half, and I think, to be honest, sometimes there was a journalist that put out his piece saying that goal before halftime probably gave us this false sense of hope. Yeah. And just, the coach is going into halftime with a mindset, and as he's walking into the door, bang, we score a goal. And then
And honestly, even a win would have papered over the cracks.
Well, there's a lot of cracks in this side anyway.
If we hung on, if we hung on,
there's a lot of cracks in the side, but you'd like to think, as we've always said, if you can just get those wins and start to build that momentum there. Androutos as well with the cross. Okay, granted, the ball came in from a further distance. It wasn't even a nice cross anyway, but he probably could have done a lot better for that to at least get himself in the way, because it was right at the death, and the players were obviously just going for it. It's Michael, we'll go to you. Lineup wise first. How did you see the lineup?
And that's the thing. I was just going to say with the lineup, just what Greg was saying with not understanding Giannoulis as centre back. Yeah, I couldn't understand that as well until I figured it out a couple minutes after I saw it. It was 3-5-2, Giannoulis as centre back, Tsimikas left wing back, two strikers up front with Pavlidis capable of playing wing. So what I saw is with that, it transitioned into a 4-2-3-1 when we are attacking. But I never saw that in the whole match. We never saw it.
Greg?
And just on Giannoulis, the centre back, that just reminds us what he was going to do with Staphylides when he's going to come back. So,
well,
yeah.
Actually, I didn't even think about that. Hello, Greg.
He may not get that chance.
Well, anyway.
If you watch the game, you'd be forgiven for thinking this was John Van Chip's and the team's first game together. It was an absolute disaster. We had, I was kind of glad to see two strikers playing, but when you've got no wingers to support that, it doesn't work. And I think Pavlidis and Douvikas especially were, besides the goal Douvikas scored, was he was watching most of the game. We didn't really get them involved. the most things we were trying to do was crosses from Tsimikas and Andrutsos. Most of Andrutsos' crosses were terribly overhit. And Tsimikas' crosses were met by the keeper because a couple of short forwards trying to get them. Bakaset, as we've said from day one, is a slow player. He can't really get things going. And when you combine that with no wing presence, it's no wonder we look so lost out there and couldn't get anything going. And I think what's the stat in the 3 games we've played so far? We've created 4 chances at goal or something like that. That's terrible. We've saved our worst 3 games, and I still think the Spain game was nothing. I know we got the result, we got the draw from a lucky counter attack, but in attack, we've saved our worst games in the entire part of John Van Schip's reign in the ethnic year. For these 3 games, we've been absolutely woeful. This lineup we have, I can't get my head around what he did against Switzerland, even though he handicapped us a little bit. But we kind of did okay, and then we came into this game with a completely different setup. We didn't use any of our wide players that we got that were called up, and we used that slow combination of Bakasetas and Bukhalakis in the midfield, which again handicapped us. So it was set up to fail. So credit to I just want to say credit to Manuel Siopis, who ran his guts out, did everything he can, won many balls. He was the only guy out there who was giving 200%, and it's a shame the other guys around him didn't back that up.
I just wish we had a team full of Siopis.
Yeah.
He he played the whole 90 minutes non-stop. Nothing. Yeah. This guy was like our only hope.
I say this many times. Football it's such a basic game, yet we always try to overanalyze it and make it bigger than what it is because of Arsenal, Arsene Wenger back in the day, and then tiki-taka with whatever. And then you get a coach from the famed Ajax days that he played in the team there, and then all of a sudden he thinks he can convert that into the ethnic year, and we can't even do that. I mean, the stats now, even lately, have been saying that we're not even winning we're not even controlling the ball better than other teams. Our possession rate's always lower. But our football, we're losing our identity every game, and we're just falling backwards. And I think to be honest, I think we've gone worse. As time's gone on with John Van Schip, we've gone backwards.
100%.
And it's, I mean, look, 1-0 up, Funtas coming on for Pavlidis. Who can answer that? Who can honestly give an answer to that substitution?
I couldn't understand that either.
Yeah, Nico.
No answer.
Unless, look, he was probably looking for fresh legs to hold the ball up, but Funtas never touched the ball.
All right, so if you're looking for someone fresh legs, but he's not that player.
No, he's not. And I thought even Pavlidis was, I thought personally, holding the ball up, I thought Pavlidis at times he did okay, but I think he could have done better during the game at holding that ball up. A lot of times he didn't do that well.
Sometimes it's easier, like, if you want to try to defend a win, you actually attack. Defend the lead, you attack the game, and you want to bring. What I said, and like you said that, but the way we were playing, it was useless for Funtas to come on because what's he going to get?
It's not his system.
It's not. It's not. But it's not his system. But it's also not his system to come on in the 80th minute with a 1-0 win, with a 1-0 lead, thinking what's he going to do? Control the ball and take it to the corner. Like, the guy just wants to poach the ball. The guy wants to hang around, like, ghost around the 18-yard box. Yeah. Steve, Ella, sorry, man.
No, it's like we're trying to play anti-football, but we're not good enough to play anti-football. It's like if you just took a BTEC version of what Fernando Santos did really well with Greece, where we would play the small teams like Lithuania and such. And sure, we'd only win 1-0, but we defended and we just gave them absolutely nothing in those games. And it wasn't great football to watch, but it was so efficient that it was at times like, I enjoyed it because it didn't really matter. We would always grind out the result that we needed. But with this is just not that at all. And it's like, for someone who claims to be sort of like part of, the philosophy of Johan Cruyff and his kind of amazing attacking football, that's just so far away from what we see with Greece every game. I don't understand JVS's thought process.
You can name half a dozen players in our team that he picks that wouldn't have just can't play that style of football that he wants as well. And that's again it inlays and then, not to harp on this whole situation here, but then you have a player like Manolas who actually can play that style of football that JVS wants. Yeah, he's a bad egg and he's out the door. Now, Greg, you were getting information that just speaking of Manolas and all that kind of stuff. You had some information on the why he was excluded from the get-go in the team.
Just basically that John Van Schip can't deal with any type of, I guess, how you want to put a character in the team or someone that's going to speak up a little or anything like that. And he never had an intention of speaking with Manolas or Papastathopoulos for reconciliation, which kind of matches up to what Siovas was saying in his that interview from a few months ago now on Greek television, about how, because of his comments he made, which I still think were not that bad about Manolas and people like Svarnas playing alongside with him, and then how all of a sudden he was snubbed. And ironically enough, last year we beat Kosovo with a Siova's goal. But it matches up with, he'll take things very personally, JVS, and once you're in that bracket, it's see you later.
And is that... look, how does that bode well for... Because the players would know what's going on, regardless if they're talking or not. So how would that bode well into the system there, knowing that you can't express yourself? Because if you do, then you're going to be on the outer foot as a coach. We saw that interview ages ago when he was saying about Fortounis, how he doesn't like to defend, and he just basically just rode him all interview, and then they went to Fortounis and it's almost like he was just baiting him to say something, but it doesn't make sense at a top line level like that a coach is like that, and it's very detrimental to the to the Ethniki Omada, to us fans. And is there a way around that, do you think, Greg?
No, with JVS, this is obviously him, and he's been around long enough. This is the way he's set up. This is the way his mind works. That you can't really, at this stage, you can't really work around that with a manager who has that characteristic and works that way.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking, and I'll go to a question that we got on Instagram as well. So if anyone, guys, just a little segue here, if you ever want to shoot us a question for the podcast, shoot us a DM, link the hashtag HellasFootyPod with it, and we'll get onto it. Demos Demos.Philaktou on Instagram posted a question. It's a two-parter here, so I'll go to Michael here for you. Would you sack the manager, and when? Part B, who would you replace him with? And he gave us a few suggestions. Gattuso, Valverde, and Bobby Stennis. I should have laughed.
Oh my god!
Yeah, where's Takis Lemonis? Where's he?
Look,
what about Parascos? What about Parascos? Where is he?
Hold on. The Demos' credit there. I saw it first, and I'm like, really, Bobby? And I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? We've had worse. So I think if he was 10 years younger, I'd give him a shout. But I think Bobby's is too old, and I don't think he'd be suited for us at all. Gattuso is an interesting one, though. He wouldn't suffer fools, and he's from what I've seen, he's not a tactical genius, so he'd get the players working for him, and he coached at the highest level, so he'd be able to deal with the biggest egos in our side and deal with them interestingly. Valverde, what do you reckon, Michael?
What's the first
part?
Answer the first one, yes. I would sack him
when?
After the Sweden game.
If we win?
If we win, he just saved himself. So another international break with him. So I can't stand it.
Yeah, but you don't want to be negative, so you want to win.
Yeah, but the thing is, John Van Schip outlined that we must qualify for the World Cup.
Well, that's
the goal.
That was his goal.
It's looking grim. It's looking grim. We're not going to make it. So get rid of him.
I don't think it's not. Yeah, it's grim because now we have to go after Spain. and as well as, we have to win against Sweden, but we also have to beat the Spanyolos, essentially, or at the very least get another draw with them at home.
The thing is, we have to win our next 5 games. That's impossible.
Yeah.
So it's over.
Nico.
The second one.
Yeah.
Valverde out of the 3, but that's a dream.
Yeah, I think that's a dream too.
Yeah.
Nico, how would you go with this one?
Like Michael, I'd sack him after Sweden, provided we don't get a win. And I can't see us beating Sweden. So, look,
okay.
There's actually rumours that have come out, and I'm actually shocked they've come out so early. So I'm usually critical of the EPL, and at least if the reports are true, they're on the front foot about it.
What's the reports?
Michael shared it earlier. They're after three Greeks. 3 Greeks are shortlisted. Donis, Uzunivis, and also Delas.
Yeah.
Delas. Okay. Yeah, Delas' name always gets thrown in.
2 out of the 3 are currently out of a job.
Yeah, that's right. Now, Greg.
They're all out of job.
Yeah, they're all.
Zonis? I thought he was still
he's out of a job.
No, he's not.
He's out of a job.
Yeah,
okay.
he's unemployed too. Greg,
okay.
Delas, you saw him firsthand.
I didn't mind him at Ajax, but he hasn't been great since then, especially at Panathinaikos.
Forget about those. Forget about club, because sometimes the club coaches, I'm just thinking as a tactician, as a coach, as a person, stylistically, would he suit? Because it's hard to be a club coach, especially at Panathinaikos. Like you're working off peanuts.
Yeah.
But how I'm trying to put it here, like, is he someone? He's obviously got the respect, but is he someone that would be able to coach the players and be able to have some tactics or something that would make the team better than what it is?
I do think so, yes. Again, going from my time with him at Ajax, he did some good things there. He definitely got the guys up for the big matches, and he played some smart formations. We didn't have situations with Delas where we played ugly football, or you saw teams out there, with ridiculous systems that haven't worked, which I've got to say I've been seeing a lot lately in the teams that I'm following, club and national wise. So in that regards, and then he knows, he's been around, he knows international stage really well. So look, I don't think he's going to get the role, but if he did, I think he might do an okay job.
Yeah. Look, I'm with you there. His name keeps getting put out there, which isn't a bad thing. Donis' name is always out there. From what I always saw him at of course, he was just a basic coach, but a good man manager in that aspect. So the talent's there. We're not the most talented side in the world, but we're essentially not the worst side in the world either put together. The players are there. We've got players in position that can play. Steve, how would you see it? And I'll just add to it. I'll add to that one because Georgio Christopoulos on Instagram also asked the question, following the recent performances, does JVS still deserve to have the top job? Now, we put out a poll and 85% people wanted him sacked as well on Twitter, and that was over 500 responses. So, Steve, how do you see the tenure there for the coach?
I think having the hashtag insert manager here out can be really cringe, especially after I've seen Arsenal fans do it for like 4 seasons with Wenger. But unfortunately, after this result and with everything that's happened over the last kind of year or so, I am JVS out now. So for me, it's just, if he gets the result against Sweden, then he does buy himself a bit more time. But is he really going to get even a result against Sweden? Sweden, where did they finish in the European Championships? Like quarterfinals?
Round of 16.
Was it round of 16? Yeah. I mean, either way, they did really well.
Yeah.
And they've got a very talented team. With regards to the 3 managers shortlisted, I think I know the least about Uzunidis. I don't really know much more about him, but I think Delas would be interesting because he worked under Otto Rehhagel, so he knows the philosophy of the national team and how they should play and how they should act as individuals and as a group. So, and maybe international football would suit Delas more, because club football sometimes for certain coaches can be quite difficult with regards to all of the variables that you have to work with, and a national team coach just might be a better fit for him. So I wouldn't say no to having Velas in the role.
6-8 weeks a year to just get your best players, your most informed players, and work with them. I don't think it's. You just need someone that can deal with the egos. I think they'd be your number one. I was debating on social media the last couple of days about the success that we had with our coaches, Otto Rehagel and Fernando Santos. We'd never played nice football under them, but what we had is managers there that had balls of steel, and they took on players. And Santos even said when he was leaving, he goes, a lot of the guys are really difficult to work with, but that's your job. You work with them because they're talented, and that's part and parcel of being a coach. Coaching the ethnic Omada, because you're not a club where you can just say, look, I can't deal with this ego. I'm going to get someone that's passive in the side. So, and it's no coincidence that since their departures, okay, Ranieri came in and he ended up he's had a successful coaching career his whole life, but he's never been a strong-willed coach. You could see it in him. He's always been this passive kind of guy. And
why did he get sacked from Leicester? He got sacked from Leicester because the personalities got the better of him. He lost the dressing room and they went to the owners to sack him, to get him sacked. That's a fact.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's always been sacked from his clubs. So he's never, he won a lot of it. Look, granted, he's had a good, successful career as a coach, but he's always been sacked, and it's always been generally the same thing. On Twitter, at Nick OFC or 0FC, Nickel. And I'll put this to Greg because you're a young adult back in the day, just like me. Tough one, but if King Otto was still the manager, who would be in the starting lineup for the game against Sweden?
If Otto was coach, we would probably go to the 4-3-3, and he would have probably had
100%.
He would have had Giacomakis, I think, in there anyway. He would have had Giacomakis up front with. He would have had, for sure, he would have had wingers. He would have at least had Linios out wide, and maybe the way we are at the moment, and maybe Giannoulis at left wing. He would have had, I think, Mandalos. Look, our center attacking midfield options right now are not great, but I'm going to go with my choice. He would have put Mandalos at the central attacking mid with Siopis and Zeka behind him in a three-man midfield, and then four at the back with whatever for, definitely Tsimikas at left back, maybe even Sliakas at right back, or maybe again Androutsos, but there's a few options at right back which we're not looking at, and then centre back pairing. So I think you would have gone with someone like that.
That's what I was thinking. Boys, Nico, you want to jump into that one? I mean, he liked robust players in the back.
He did also fall out with players as well. So,
big time.
Yeah. So
he never sugarcoated. He told them, and he's like, no, he never lied to the media. No, my way or the highway. And I was reading up.
What I'm saying is, you don't know who he would have fallen out with here in this case, in this day and age.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a throwback. So let's assume he doesn't fall out with anyone in the current. Forget about the guys that aren't there, but in this current squad here.
Okay.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have. I don't think he would have had Zavelas.
Well, he always likes big, strong guys in the back. That's how I always saw him. Yeah. And he just like a K-Pap and probably like a Socrates, to be honest. I mean, he's whatever, but he never liked and he always liked his speedy guys like Seitaridis, like just speedy wingers.
Not only that though, George, and I remember I think Sun writer Kostas Lianos said it himself on a podcast. It was Gate 7, he said it on. Rehagel chose top players. He chose like players that competed in Europe and like players abroad that were playing at the top level. And you're not seeing that so much with this current kind of Greece squad to a certain extent. There are a few, but I think for the most part, he chose strong mentalities as well and players that knew how to win and kind of
goes back to what Greg said, the information that it just doesn't look like the coach is able to deal with these with these players.
Even then, you compare the 2004, especially the wingers then, as Greg said, we like wingers, but you can't compare Limnios and Hadziovanis to someone like Yanakopoulos back in the day. The quality's dropped big time.
And speaking of that, it leads us to another question here that we got. Where is it? I've lost it. Standard, I've lost it here. Sorry, Michael. Ella, how do you think the lineup would be under King Otto?
Well, pretty much what Greg said. Yeah, I reckon he would start Giakoumakis up top. Definitely. I don't think Otto would start anyone like Buvikas or Pavlidis. No way. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I was reading up on him.
You gotta have the big man up. You gotta have the big man up top.
He always wanted a big man. He always wanted a big man. Yeah, he always wanted a big man.
So Giakoumakis would be that guy. So
yeah.
Yeah.
But sorry, Nico, leading in, I found the question. It actually came from your cousin, Theo Hatzi. Theo.Hatzi. Who do you think are more to blame with the current national team woes, the EPO or the Super League clubs? Tend to think the fact that Super League clubs are not interested in performing in Europe or haven't performed, I don't know if they're not interested, but haven't performed in Europe has had a flow-on effect on the Ethniki.
I think, well, the EPO is to blame above any coach or any player.
Yep.
They appoint the coach, basically, and the coach then picks the players. But I think, the EPO, first and foremost, in terms of the clubs, they are to blame, but I think for a different reason. We had a long chat about this last night. Well, with Theo, that is. We had a long chat about it last night. I think the clubs we've said it before as well, that they'll go and sign players we've never heard of in their 30s instead of developing the Greeks.
Yeah. And then the Greeks end up going and playing in Belgium or Holland or something, and then which has a detrimental effect. Greg, did you want to add to that?
Look, definitely there. The league not starting has not helped us one bit. It's handicapped us completely.
Yeah.
To something totally, something I wanted to add. I think in terms of blame, there's also been look. It's not completely answering the question, but really, JVS, he's something we've been talking about for over a year now in regards to things like this. He's had he's had 2 years at the helm of this team, and I've definitely always said, like, hopefully he learns from his mistakes. And the guy has not learned from any of his mistakes. In fact, he's actually doubled up on his mistakes.
Yeah.
So it's quite incredible. And, I think whatever happens with the Sweden game, if we've learnt one thing, he makes really silly mistakes and he can't get the results when we really need them. We saw that against Slovenia in the Nations League, and we're seeing it now in this campaign, which has been. I can't believe how badly we've played. So,
did you see the conference?
Yes, I did, and something's missing. I wish I could see in his mind what he's trying to do and what he's thinking, because I think he was trying to replicate the Norway game in a way, but we didn't do that one bit. And I think in that Norway game we had a very different midfield setup.
But in the post-match conference, he talked up.
Yeah, he talked up Kosovo. I watched it right after, and
he talked up Kosovo, and I'm watching this, and it was really painful to see that. And that's the problem as well with our Ethniki Omada. Like, come out and just say no. Like, it's okay if you were to come out and say that was unacceptable, but he doesn't have it in him. No,
accepting mediocrity.
Yep, words out of my mouth.
Yeah, like if you come out and you say, I don't know what happened, guys. We switched off at the end. I don't know. The guy switched off. I need to deal with this. Okay, everyone saw it, so it's not like. But you're going to sit there and say, they're a good opponent.
He did this with Moldova as well, though, George.
He does. He did it with Georgia.
It's like this is our new level.
He's backtracking on the mistakes that you can see he's made. That he's just not. He can't say it, but he's really trying to backtrack on shocking performances and mistakes that he's made.
And the questions, he's not getting hammered in these press conferences. Well, now I don't know.
That's Greek style, though.
They don't show, like, they give him 3-4 questions, and they're just so long and loaded that by the time the interpreter gets it, she gets half of it wrong as well. It comes across to him, and then he gives his half-assed answer, and it comes back, and it's just like, you just give a short, sharp question. Why did so and so do this? Why did you think he did that? Make him answer the questions instead of giving us generic answers. And I find that really hard to deal with him as a coach. That he just would rather deflect and just say, no, Kosovo are a strong side. We knew they were a strong side. No, brother, they weren't a strong side. It's their first point in bloody. It's their first point ever. They're not a strong side.
First one ever at home.
Yeah, they're not. And I don't want to sound like a negative person when I say that.
It's realistic.
It is, yeah. We'll go to our last question here. Nico Celtics at Nico Leon on Twitter. And this is one that always pops up, and I'll share my opinion first, and then I'll put it out to you guys. If there truly is politics, favoritism going behind the scenes, what's the benefit? The national team has dropped down so low. What's there to gain from any of this? And then the second part, surely Nicopolidis should be a legitimate contender for coach when JVS leaves. Miss you guys. Miss you too, Nico. Thanks for the question. Politics, favoritism behind the scenes, I think there is, but I think that's normal. I think it happens in every national team where player managers who have a lot of power these days get involved. They start talking to the coaches. They probably start saying to the coach, listen, if you don't pick my player, I'm going to make your life difficult if you ever get sacked and not find a job. I think that happens in every national side. It gets highlighted for us, though, as for the Ethniki Omada, because we're that crap. But I don't see anywhere where the EPO tells John Van Schip, Michael Valkanis, Aaron Winter, and anyone else involved with the team, you must pick this player, and they willingly bend over and just say, yep, no worries, we're going to play him. I can't see that happening anywhere. And I think a lot of the theories that people want to believe that because it's an easy excuse for failure, and they want to blame the EPO, or they want to blame player agents, or they're grubs of the game, and they probably have their high agendas, and they probably try to sway coaches and all that. But I don't think they have their say in that. And this goes back to what I was saying before, where a strong manager would just tell these guys to bugger off and they leave him be. Anyone want to add to that? I mean, does anyone think differently to how I think? Michael?
I think agents have a say more than what the EPO does. I don't think EPO selects the squad. I don't believe that at all. I think agents have a say, but not entirely.
To a point where they actually get their guy in. Because
they get the guy in, because
what's the benefit of the match? Yes.
What they saw in the match with Papadopoulos getting some minutes, he's without a club after a few weeks signing with that Saudi Arabian club.
What's the benefit for JVS?
There's no benefit. That's the benefit for a player.
But what's the benefit of JVS then doing that favour for the agent? Considering that's why but you just contradicted yourself then. Sorry, I don't want to be argumentative
I'm
here.
just saying maybe agents have a say.
I think agents pressure coaches, but I don't think they get the final say. I mean, Greg, what do you think?
Well, I believe on the Gate 7 International podcast, it was mentioned that from inside sources that JVS does have full control over the selection. So I agree with George in the sense that I'm sure there's always someone pushing something and trying to get someone in there. But from what I understand, everything we're saying is all JVS in his reign with the Ethniki. And I think that was part of his agreement as well anyway.
I think everything, even when the rumours were saying that people from above didn't want Papasotopoulos and Manolas and Siovas and Fortounis and Fedfadzidis and whoever to play, I think he made those decisions. I think people probably said they're bad eggs, and I don't like the way they carried on. But ultimately, I think he made the decision, no, I don't want to play them because it makes no sense.
And he's effectively taken out, there's at least 4 or 5 of our best players. So
Greg, they're all walking startups in their side. Let's be honest. Yeah. Every single one of them I just named. You'd start Siovas, you'd start Manolas, you'd start Papasotopoulos. okay, maybe not Pat because he's a bit older. You definitely would start Fetfazidis. You know, you'd start Fortunis. We're dying for a centre midfielder, like you know, for him, for a player of his quality. Nico, you're sitting there smiling. What do you reckon?
No, I think like Fortunis that you just mentioned, he would have made a difference. Again, no excuse for the result and the crap that was dished up, but yeah, he would have made a huge difference.
Yeah. Nico Polidis, your favourite. And Nico Celtics is a Lakers fan. I think he's got a soft spot for him though.
Yeah, no, I think that the other three, if we're going to go down the Greek path, I think the other three are more suitable. Look, I don't think anyone can fix this mess. It's just so deep. Good luck to whoever takes the poison chalice.
Could you see, not co-coaches, but could you see a few of those boys together? Nikopolidis, Delas, and
nah,
working together for the betterment of the side. Unemployed coaches.
Unless as an assistant, not
not co. Yeah, sorry. And however you want to do it, someone overseeing it, like Adonis overseeing it, but getting some of the old boys.
Adonis has his guys, so he'd bring his team.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They all have their own guys, eh? So it's hard to fathom.
Uzunidis with Klonadidis, so
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Coming up, Greg, Sweden. What do you reckon?
Yeah, well, I'm curious to see what he's going to do. Surely he's going to revert to the 4-2-3-1 system with actual wingers playing. But again, we've left. This is what really annoys me. 2 games, Switzerland and Kosovo, and we've done 2 separate things. So we're almost lost again. We got to go back to what we normally do, and playing with. Look, we've got to go for one striker, but have wingers that are supporting that striker. Mm. And I know this. Look, I know this is, it's a catch-22. But I would start Mandalos instead of Bakasetas. I'm sure he's tired as he is. And even though Mandalos didn't show his best in the 2 games so far, he came on as a sub in both games. I think he can do a bit more than what Bakasetas does, because whilst Bakasetas got a couple of assists, outside of those assists, what else did he do? He didn't do anything. Mandalos can at least do that. So I hope we see that, and I hope we see at least Zeka and Shopis. I doubt he's going to drop one of the new boys in there in this such a key game. So I'd rather Zeka and Shopis out there, and hope for the best. Hope we can see a nice strong game. And for the love of God, get out there and play football from the kickoff, not 25 minutes into the game where we're running around like headless chickens, watching the opposition do whatever the hell they do. And I hope these guys play with some bloody passion. We've been so passive. We're letting the opposition do what they want. So show them bloody balls and get out there and play football, you little... Anyway.
Well said.
I hope they get in there.
Well said, mate.
It's the failed generation, 27 to 30.
Yeah, you've said that, Nico.
I remember doing a blog on this a while back as well. That Euro under-19s 2012 side, these guys should be at their peaks now at 27, 28. None of them have kicked on.
Who failed them? They failed themselves or the systems?
The system.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Without a doubt.
I mean, a lot of these players may have made bad career moves as well.
Well, there's Stafilidis, Gourbelis, Diamandakos, Bukhalakis, Bakasetas, all those.
Yeah. Michael, Torlis is back.
Yeah.
Is he going to start, you reckon?
No.
Yeah.
Simply no, he won't.
No.
We know, because we know the stubbornness from JVS. He's not going to start a real winger.
An informed player starting, heaven forbid, eh?
Yeah. So, good. At least that's the positive news after that Kosovo game. Good to see Tolis 100% fit, which caused some mixed reactions from people saying don't play him. We know JVS is not going to play him. So, yeah.
Oh, look, the reactions I think are over the top. Doesn't matter.
They're over the top. So,
yeah.
I just want to say a little message to people: calm your farm. That's all. Calm your farm, because that's the only positive news that we've gotten so far.
Stephen, how do you reckon we go against Sweden, mate?
First and foremost,
because after the game you said,
I don't know if I'm going to watch this game.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. After the game, you said, "Look, I don't know if I can handle this anymore."
I'm wrong.
So, I was going to say you'll be up at 4:30, but no, you'll be watching it. You're a sucker
I
for it.
mean,
Come on, Stephen. Look at the hours you get the games.
Yeah,
We got to
exactly.
wake up at
You get
4:45.
prime
yeah,
time.
true. My hours are much better than you guys. I'll tell you something. I definitely won't be watching Cyprus. I don't know who they're playing. I think it's Slovakia that they're playing today, which I'm going to lose. That game.
Your boy Sotirio, he might do well.
Of course, yeah.
I don't know how he's become your boy. But yeah, going back to Sweden, what do you think do you think it's possible we can get the win?
It'd be a miracle, but we've seen miracles from Greece before.
Coach is on the chopping block. He knows that.
Yeah, it's a must win. Well, if this last game wasn't a must win, this is a must win because this could cost him his job.
This will cost him.
That's right.
It's untenable.
And a lot of the players as well.
Untenable.
I genuinely think a lot of the players know that if JVS goes, they won't get picked
Yes.
with a new manager, particularly one like I said, does.
Yep.
Look, I've always said his form for club level has been good, which is why he's been called up theoretically, but then it's not really that reason at all. It's because he's one of JVS's favourites. But under a new manager, would he get called up? That's the question. And I don't think he would, personally. Or if he did get called up, I don't think he'd start. But that's a different topic altogether. I can't see us getting a win in this game. Maybe we'll grind out a draw, but that's still not going to be enough for JVS to keep his job, I don't think.
Yeah.
You would think that anything less than a win, he's out the door because his job was to get us to Qatar. If you can't get us to Qatar, then there's no point. And that goes back to the message that we got, where if you sack a coach and where you've got nothing to gain in the middle of it, unless there's a ready-made coach that you want to get in and bring in long-term.
It's just I'm growing tired of the do badly in the first 4 games, sack the manager, get a bit of late form even though there's no pressure on the players now. Then next tournament it's the same thing all over again. It's just
where that whole thing you know where it all stuffed us up. We're going back when Skibek was given an extension to his contract. We just lost everything when he should have been sacked after he failed, but instead he took a massively reduced contract. I mean, that just screamed failure, and we've just been chasing ourselves.
He's got us closer to the World Cup than
and we're just chasing ourselves then. And essentially, what's going to happen now is that if we fail, we're going to get ourselves another coach that's going to come in and say, "Well, I can't do anything for this World Cup, so I'm going to try for World Cup 20." Fucking
the Euros are absolutely
nothing's a must anymore, unfortunately. With us,
we're going on 10 years without a major tournament appearance at this rate.
Yeah, it's
the Euros is a must anyway because there's more teams than they were before, so you must qualify.
The Nations League as well by then as well.
The Nations League we should get promoted, must get promoted because Nations League last year was a failure.
Yeah. And then you see the way these teams ended up getting into the like Scotland, for instance, getting into the Euros by virtue of where they
were in our league. They were in League C from memory.
So, Greg, I know I asked you, but do you reckon, knowing that the coach would know that his career's on the line, the coach would be telling his I guess he doesn't have to tell his players, but he knows that the players would know that they're probably jobs on the line as well. Do you think he's going to go out with an attacking mindset to try to win this game, or do you think he's going to do what he always does and just play it tentative to?
Look, he has to. He has to go out with an attacking mindset. His approach he's had at the moment is not working. I had a bit of glimmer of hope during the Nations League. Even though we didn't top the group, but we were creating a lot of chances and we were playing there was some nice attacking football, but I don't know what's happened since then. We've become dyslexic up front in attack. It's been atrocious. And I never would have thought from what I was seeing not long ago that we'd be seeing matches like we saw against Georgia and Kosovo. And for me, even the Spain game was a bit of a sign of things to come with just no attack whatsoever. I'm curious to see what approach he's going to take. He can't take his usual defensive approach right now because it's not. We can't do it. We can't keep scoring one goal and concede. We can't. I mean, all we're doing is drawing 1 all the time.
Yeah.
So you got to change things up. And like you said, basic stuff. Play bloody wingers. Get them to create chances to help support our strikers. And if he still can't say that Bakasetas is not really a guy that can run around the field and get things going his way like definitely a Fortunis can. But I still think Mandalos starting the game can offer a bit more.
Yeah, the thing is, and it's always the case with Fortunis, because other players play in his position and they move around a lot. They run around. They look busy. Bakasetas looks busy on the field, but he's ineffective. Whereas Fortunis doesn't look busy on the field. He never looks busy, but he's an effective player, even against Spain.
Given the ball,
even against Spain, remember?
You give him the ball, let him do his magic.
Yeah, and let him walk back when he loses the ball, because it doesn't matter. Like you got to have trust. Like a guy like Siopis would be perfect with him as well. He's back from injury around January, February. So
he won't be back until next season though, George. Like that ACL is going to take another yard of pace.
He'll be right. He'll be back. Don't count him out. I reckon he'll play this season.
Oh no, he'll play, but I just don't think he'll. If you remember last season, it took him till October, November to like fully sort of get back into gear.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, mate. I don't know. Well, I mean, that's a long-term thought process there. Boys, any last words?
Super League this weekend.
Super League starts this weekend, so we're going to have we're going to have a jam-packed episode next week. No news on Super League 2. Clubs are falling left, right, and so. Oh, there is news, Michael.
Banyonios are out.
Okay.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they couldn't come up with the cash.
They're in debt. They didn't realize how much debt they have.
Who didn't realise? EPL or the club?
How did they?
They have 3 million debt, and that was not enough to keep them afloat in the second division. So they have no choice to go back down to the Gama Ethnique. So yeah, it's a shame.
Yep, forget about it. All right. Under 21s as well in the morning. Oh, sorry, playing tomorrow or today.
Well, today for everyone that's in Greece and USA.
Yeah, for
us in Australia in the morning.
Yep.
Look, under 21s, they're much better to watch than this rubbish that's under John Van Skip. So
And who's the coach?
Simos.
Yeah, Simos. And I always, even Offie fans were saying he had him play. Even Neoplias was saying he had Offie playing nice football. He just couldn't.
But he just ran out of ideas.
He just ran out of ideas. So,
but he's got the potential, and he does have a great CV with youth side. So that's that is something promising. So
I'm looking forward to him going. All right, beautiful. And
just want to touch on, we did have a good friendly with Denmark, 1-1. If anyone saw the goal that we scored, Ioannidis with a nice low pass from Zacharidis running inside the box. That was perfect, and Ioannidis was there to pounce on it and score the goal.
Yeah, beautiful.
I hope he's the first choice this year.
And the thing is, Denmark, they have much better talent than us. What we showed up there in their backyard was fantastic, and hopefully we can qualify for the Euro, the under 21 Euros, under Simos. He's our only hope.
Fingers crossed. We need to get another generation of players, because this one's let us down. All right, fellas. Well, lovely podcast again. Thanks for all the questions, guys. If you got more questions, please hit us up. We love answering them. Look, a big match coming up. Hopefully it's a successful match for us, Ethnic E fans, rather than anything else. Hopefully our World Cup dream continues on, and we've got better things to talk about with the resumption of the Super League next week as well. Guys, we'll see you later. We'll do it again another time. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.